And joining us now to give analysis on why OPEC is increasing production is Ray Treviño, Vice President of Operations, Pecos Country Operating, Texas. So good morning, Ray. Why do you think OPEC Plus chose to accelerate production? And this is despite slowdown risks.
Yes, good morning, Don. And that's a great question. And technically, they are increasing production, but it's going to be over 18 to 24 months. Last time they increased production and truly flooded the market was back when they attempted to destroy the United States shell boom, which did not happen. That did not work. And they actually financially hurt themselves when they flooded the market back in 2014, 2015. So this time, what they're doing is they're doing it in stages, and their goal is over the next 18 to 24 months, increase production to 2 million barrels of oil a day. And they're adding about 150,000 barrels a month right now. Now, the real other reason why they decided to do this, Don, is to actually put the other OPEC countries back in check, so to speak. We have several countries that are a part of OPEC that are currently producing more oil than they should be at this time, based on their rules and regulations of OPEC. So Saudi Arabia, who is the unofficial leader of OPEC, basically said, fine, smaller countries, if you're going to continue to produce more oil, then we're going to bring the price down because we know how much it costs them to bring it out exactly and extract that oil from the ground. So that's really what's going on. A bunch of infighting with OPEC, Don.
Okay, so based on what you said, where do you see the trajectory of oil prices heading?
Based on that, I do still seeing actually over the next 12 months staying somewhere between that $70 to $80 range. So we'll say 75. And the real reason why is we're still keeping an eye on Iran and Venezuela. We do expect President Trump at some point to put some hard sanctions on these countries. And when that happens, that's going to take an estimated 2 to 4 million barrels of oil off the global production daily. And at that point, that 2 million barrels that OPEC is adding will then, basically even that out, and we'll be back at that $70 to $75 range.
Okay, how do you see oil demand? What are oil demand projections?
Right now, based on the international agencies and here in America, we do see the demand only continue to grow. We are watching China with some concern, just based off of their economy, but they are scheduled to grow, as well as India, where these middle classes are only continuing. And we do know that the best way to only continue to grow any infrastructure or any first world country is through hydrocarbons.
So with the new administration, so the Trump administration, right, its narratives on oil is changing from the past administration, Biden's administration. Is that having an influence on oil demand projections?
Not necessarily an influence on oil demand projections. We do know that here in America, we're still the number one producer. We're producing 14 million barrels of oil a day as a country. Texas here, we're actually producing almost 45% of that alone ourselves. And we're going to continue to produce. Also, companies like Pecos, we're going to continue to drill, especially in drill-friendly states like Texas, where we don't got to worry about the regulations and the red tape. And we're going to continue to produce oil for all Americans that just, there's no discrimination in it. So with this administration and their drill, baby, drill mantra, yes, we're going to continue to drill. But it's also going to be about build, baby, build as a country. We need to update our infrastructure. We need to get natural gas to other places like the Northeast, and also in other places, allow places like Wyoming and Colorado to share their natural gas across America as well. And that's where this build, baby, build comes into play.
And how is tariffs influencing this sector?
Where the tariffs may come into play, and keep in mind, President Trump did do another 90-day pause. We could see in the steel market. Obviously, we use a lot of steel in the oil and gas industry. So if anything, we're watching that to where possibly some of the supplies and that we use may go up. But right now, we're just, we are crossing our fingers and hoping that these tariffs will not be affecting us, especially since, again, they've been on another 90-day pause.
So with these tariffs, some analysts are increasing their forecast on recession. And if that happens, then there's definitely going to be an impact, right?
I have been hearing the word recession. I'm going to have to use the word reset, Don. There's no and this it's a, no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Everything is costing more. You look at the difference between 3 years ago and today. Even though we're very excited, the price of gasoline has gone down. Everything else has gone up, and inflation has dropped, but prices have not. So we are going to see some shifts in the market. I don't know if it's going to be a true recession, but I will say this as a millennial, an older millennial, we've already been through a couple of these. So, as a millennial, I say bring it on because we've already been through that. We've already been through a great pandemic. So we know that here in America, we're going to not only survive, but we will thrive if we do have another recession.
Okay, one last question. Personally, what are you looking at? What are some of the risks or headwinds you're looking at in oil markets?
Right now, the biggest risk for us is going to be OPEC. It is true what they say, and I think I've said it before, Don, that the only two things that really move the needle on the price of a barrel of oil is OPEC and the Gulf of America new production, adding new production in the Gulf of America. So those two things are really the only things that we really focus on 100%. We know that this administration is cutting the red tape, cutting down the regulations. We got great people like Lee Zeldin, Chris Wright, and Doug Burgum right in the good spots of the EPA, Interior, and Energy Secretary. So really, OPEC is the only ones that we're watching out for. But again, right now, it's a lot of infighting that's going on at OPEC. And always keep in mind to all your viewers out there that Saudi Arabia does have a very good relationship with President Trump. So I do expect prices to come up as soon as this OPEC fighting is done.
Well, okay, Ray, as always, great speaking with you.
Thank you, Don.